You see, all Enfields, they misbehave, they get jealous, they have a temperament. So they even start at a premise which does not make sense. Enfields don't make sense. It's not really a machine. There's so many fucking moving parts in the damn thing, and it's just a big chaos, man, just working. You know?
What's available here for starters, you know what I mean? If there was a different engine, we'd probably all be talking about that. But we've got the Enfield, right?
This is not for high-speed engine, this is not for racing, this is for common man motorcycle.
In India, Enfields are kind of like a religion.
The Bullet in India is the motorcycle that people associate Royal Enfield with. Because the Royal Enfield is Bullet. The Bullet is the company for it.
It's a cool machine, man. That's what I could say.
It was something very unique for a country like India.
The minute you start a Royal Enfield and you sit on it, you feel like a ton of weight underneath you, right? You feel it kind of disbalanced, but it's this iron horse or like, a mini elephant that you're sitting on.
Almost mysterious, godlike motorcycle, the Enfield 350, which at the time, in the late 50s, was the pinnacle of motorcycle engineering. And if you want a true motorcycle experience, as in a motor and a cycle, so when you're riding something, you feel like you're riding a machine.
It's got drums in the front, it's got a carbureted, beautiful old block.
You're not something smooth, nothing perfect. And the joy of these old bikes is when you sit them and you open throttle.
And it doesn't immediately take off. You clamp on the brakes, it doesn't immediately stop.
They shake, they don't brake, they don't corner particularly well, but they're just a whole lot of fun. And at the end of the day, if you're not having fun, what the fuck are you doing, When did you first get on Royal Enfield? Steal it?
Yeah, I stole it from him, you can say that.
No, we stole it.
My parents just didn't want me to touch anything with two wheels. I thought it's just too dangerous, not even a bicycle.
The army officer uncle who parked it outside,
The bike was pretty much there, he wasn't using it, so...
we couldn't kickstart it. Me and my friend just pushed it.
We didn't know anything, any mechanic part or anything about the machine. We just know how to ride it.
And I just sat on it. I didn't know how to ride with the other side shift and stuff.
My friend always there's a lot of arguments in our groups about why I got into riding motorcycles. I think a lot of people did it because motorcycles are fundamentally cool.
Since I was a little kid, I always wanted to be a cool kid.
And so when I was 17, I was like, Dad, I'm going to buy a bike. And he's like, son, you're not buying a bike. I'm like, Dad, I'm buying a bike.
I tried to work my way through the family's hierarchy. Like grandma, grandfather, and mom, and dad, and my uncle.
Told my mom I need a Royal Enfield. It's in the job description. Need to have a Royal Enfield.
I just blindly said, okay, I can't wait anymore. So just go for it, just pick it up.
And back in the days, it was a big fucking deal for anybody to own a Royal Enfield. It was a very impractical, heavy motorcycle. And
That's how it was. If we looked at Enfields being ridden by younger generation, there was none, you know. 95, 96, the 90s, not even very, very far off, but even in the 90s. It was something which someone who had a lot of experience with motorcycles, then they graduated to the Bullet. No one went and bought a Bullet new or started off with a Bullet.
I can still feel it in my fucking bones, man. The rattle.
Does the Royal Enfield have a character, a persona, a feeling?
I think it's like having an old, an old friend, or like a long-time girlfriend. It's like a girlfriend that you never understand.
The first couple of years, I was always scared of her. Will she start? You know?
Turn your fuel on and you just slowly kick a jam. Just massage, no rush.
It's so funny, it's your motorcycle, man. And every time you go down and carrying your helmet and...
You never put your gloves on, you never put your helmet on.
This is the thought in your head. I hope she starts, man.
If I'm trying to get my date along with my motorcycle, it won't start for sure.
It was giving me a lot of issues. So I call it the Murphy bike. Probably there's no Royal Enfield that's perfect. There's no Royal Enfield that's 100% perfect.
Troubles with engine? Yeah, loads. Leaking? They leak like fuck, yeah, but that's all part of it. You've got to keep tightening the bolts up all the time, like every month if you're riding it around like a mad person, yeah. But leaking's great. Leaking's what English bikes do. They leak. If they break down, they break down. That's just what they do. You kind of, you know, they do break down, but you have to. It's a labour of love. You have to kind of have a sense of what you're riding. Otherwise,
It does break down, which, being a 46-year-old motorcycle, it's a 46-year-old machine that it hasn't been laid up in a, a museum or a barn. It's been ridden every day. There's fatigue, the metal's tied, so it does break down. It does leak oil. It does blow heads and bottom ends, and the bearings get fucked. But that's just part of riding motorcycles.
It was supposed to be, or it was perceived to be a very complex bike to work on. Older machines have too many moving parts and too many adjustable parts, right? They can sit in various settings, as they call it, right? So I think each Bullet, when it comes from the factory, I think, as they call it, it's handmade, and each person's mood swings at any point in time, and I think all of that is really, really in there, It sort of reflects what mood the person was in who assembled it or made a component or put it together and things like that. So that's one part of the whole thing. The second thing is, when you actually go and look at why it is different or what makes a Bullet different is once it comes out of the factory, there are so many mechanics who have worked on it. And each one lives with their own view of what is right or it's all experience, right? So
back in the days, there were very few and very special maestros, ustad, who could repair these bikes. It was not a typical mechanic-customer relationship. Actually, the mechanic were revered. They were like worshipped because they knew the shit. They were trained by the Britishers, maybe their dads, how to fix this bike, how to keep it running.
There's a guy who has a shop outside the Enfield factory. He's the gentleman who did the rebuild of my motorcycle in Chennai. And this guy was basically on the floor for many, many years at the actual factory. Now just basically does this shop. Now, look, I know my way around the engine a little bit. I'm not the most mechanically inclined, but look, I can watch YouTube videos, I can read the workshop manual, I can spin a torque wrench. So when I was doing this rebuild when I was pulling the head off near Darwin, it basically took me the better part of 2 hours to drain the tank, pull the head, pull the piston, give it a full inspection. This guy, when I was speaking to him, he just starts working on the bike. We're still having this conversation. He's not even looking at what he's doing. And I thought, this is interesting. I'll see how long it takes him. Cognizant of how long it took me. 12 minutes. 2 hours versus 12 minutes. And he wasn't even looking at the bike. He was literally talking to me, wrenching, oh, we'll do this, yeah, we can fit this, we can make this happen. 12 minutes. I mean, the guy's obviously been working on these bikes for his entire life, and I think that's why India has Enfield. That's why they keep having Enfields, purely because you've got these guys with this experience, this knowledge, that they've lived and breathed these motorcycles for so long that they can fix them without even looking at them.
You find them in every city, I guess, in Delhi, in Bombay, in Pune, Bangalore, spread across this country, from the highest tip in the north, in that a small roadside mechanic who fixes bikes going up to Ladakh, to someone down south. And they've dedicated their lives to these engines out of love for the machine. And they see that love in the client's eye, they see it in themselves, and it's a very humbling experience to sit around them, and see them work on these bikes that they worked on for 30, 35 years. And their fathers did it before them, and their sons will do it after them.
The English heritage packed into a motorcycle, sent to the new world that is no longer such a close part of Mother England. You've got this kind of air about this motorcycle that has this image of people crossing some continents, Himalayas, right through to the ton-up boys blasting their old Continentals around the islands. And the fact that you can still get on these motorcycles and still ride them today, that's shit, why wouldn't you want to?
Test of this bike, because it was an old bike, and I was telling my friends that okay, this time we're doing the Himalayas, and they were like, are you crazy? You can't take an old Bullet. I rode from here till the Himalayas. I took all the inner roads to Pangi Valley, did the Sach Pass, then did the whole of the Ladakh region, then Spiti. Then I took the inner route to Dehradun, and then I rode to the west coast, east coast, and then all the way to Kanyakumari. And that was around 41 days and like around 13,000 kilometers. And this thing didn't give any issue. This old thing can go anywhere. My friends keep telling me like, how much are you pushing this bike? I like, let me see. It's still running fine. I mean, I've done over 200,000 kilometers in like last 4 years. And it's still hasn't given up.
I wouldn't consider myself a crusader. I know what I like, and I like these Enfields, and I'm happy to push that as far as I can, to the point where I'm that committed to the fucking motorcycle that I'll try and ride it from Sydney to London.
I don't know. There's no end point as of now. Like, I'm definitely not selling this bike. It's gonna be there forever.
Why do people still keep riding these motorcycles?
What, everywhere, or you mean in the world, or?
In India, in your experience. Why do you think?
I think it's nostalgic. Obviously, it's nostalgic. It's an old British bike for sure. For young Indian kids, they all wanted an Enfield. It was their dream. It's my dream as well to have the same thing. It's just brilliant. I think it's a great bike.
See, the point is not whether they are making it or not making it. The point is it's still riding. A bike doesn't ride purely because somebody is making it or not making it. It's because of people. People still love to ride the old fucker. They love it. Till a couple of years back, it was still being made exactly like that, like back in the days.
A couple of years ago, Royal Enfield started working on a new engine. They hadn't touched the engine in years. So they decided that if they want to revive the company, I think the way to go would be to fix the engine first. But yet the purists hated it, right? The old school guys are like, oh, this is not a Bullet. But they're right, it's not a Bullet.
I don't want to do the new engine. I don't. It's like, I don't know, I suppose it's like Evo engines and old Harleys and stuff. People prefer them.
I mean, it's a totally different engine, right? And so I mean, at the minute that the heart changes, I mean, the bike is bound to change.
I think we need to figure out that the company builds more than just the bullets.
I like riding around on my bike. You know what I mean? Clunking and then the chain coming off and whatever. But I'm living the dream. You know what I mean? When I'm driving down by the side of the river, I'm like, you know, this is wicked. I've built this bike and I'm driving it. It's like sunshine, shirt off. That's what I like. I don't know what it'd be like driving down on one of those other bikes. Maybe it'd be just as good.
Let's look at it this way, man. It's an honest observation. People buy the new Royal Enfield because of the old Royal Enfield. They look alike. It's a very intelligent motorcycle, the new one.
No, it's good. It's coming back for sure. Definitely. Compared to 3-4 years ago, there was nothing, honestly, and now it's grown massively. And I think the generation now, they're having really good fun on their bikes. They're going up to Ladakh, and they weren't doing that before. You know, and they're going off and doing adventures and driving around India on their bikes, and it's wicked because they're actually seeing what their country's like, and their country's amazing to be driving around.
It's actually more alive now than it was before. It's the typical human psyche, you know, when we start losing something, it suddenly becomes valuable to us. So it's suddenly become valuable, the old Royal Enfield, to everyone. The maestros, the old maestros are fading and dying. But now we see and we encourage more and more people getting trained and knowing this shit. People are buying the new Enfields, they're very happy with them. Those who have not ridden the old ones. So, there's no tongue in cheek here, I'm just...
Come on, Bobby, let's hear it. Explain to me your attachment to this old bike.
A new one will never do for me. Period. It's not the same sport.
What do you feel when you see these old bikes next to each other?
The old meets new. I look up to that bike. It's like the young kid looks up to his... It's like, okay, I'll give you a nice example. It's like Chuck Norris. Yeah, that's Chuck Norris, and someone like Jason Statham looks up to him, and they're still going together. Because I'll obviously look up to Chuck Norris. I mean, I know Chuck Norris is more powerful, one dialogue and everyone's dead. And Jason Statham has to fight 50 men just to get beyond that. So in that way, yes. Yeah.